This is a template on why and how federalism is going to be implemented in the Philippines. To start with, I would like to enlighten you of the difference between form of government and that of the structure of government. Form of government is what we call a shift from presidential to parliamentary with unicameral legislature. Ito po yung tinatawag nating horizontal change or horizontal shift of government from presidential to parliamentary. The structure of government is a shift from unitary to autonomous territories or what we call federal. Yan yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa. The form of government is a horizontal change while the structure of government is the vertical change. So ano po yung present system ng ating government? Ito po yung tinatawag na presidential unitary system. What is wrong with presidential unitary system? Dito po sa sistemang ito, mayroon pong tinatawag na marginalization. Kaya dapat nating palitan ito dahil marginalization is equals to oppression. Bakit po may oppression o may marginalization? Dahil po sa presidential unitary system, mayroong tinatawag na highly centralized government. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Ang highly centralized government ay lahat halos ng poder ay nasa Malacanang o sa central government. Concentrated ang powers sa Malacanang o central government. At dahil dyan, ang mga LGUs ay beholden to the central government. Naaapi sila at sila ay beholden. Lagi na lang silang umaasa sa central government. Bakit kamo? Lahat ng approval ng mga projects, for example, kailangan central government ang mag-approve. For example, in mining, bago ka kuha ng permit for concession in mining or what we call ECC, Environmental Clearance Certificate, kailangan ang DNR Central Office ang mag-a-approve niyan. Hindi katulad kung mayroon tayong federal state, sa federal state level na ang approval ng lahat ng yan. So, it's very, very expensive because back and forth pumupunta ang mga local government units or local officials to Malacanang to follow up the approval of their projects or to the central office of the agencies of government. Ito ang pinaka masakit dito. Lahat ng taxes kinokolekta doon sa local levels ay 100% nire-remit sa central government. At ito'y babalik or it will return in a form of IRA and only 20% will be given back to the local government units. So hindi ba pang-aapi yan? Lahat ng taxes na ikinolekta doon sa local level, i-remit 100% to national level, pero 20% lang ang bumabalik doon sa local government units. So hindi po tama yan. That is unfair, that is oppression, that is marginalization. Ano pa? Ang local initiative and resourcefulness and business development are hampered. Alam naman ninyo, hindi magkaroon ng resourcefulness yung mga local units dahil nga umaasa sila palagi sa Malacanang. So ito po yung problema. Kung business development ang pag-uusapan, kung mayroong investor pupunta sa isang province or region, for example, ang investment niya hindi ma-implement without the approval of NEDA. So, hindi ba mahamper ang business opportunities sa mga local levels or sa mga territories or region or provinces because of highly centralized government. Kaya talagang dapat palitan ang presidential unitary system. Ano po ang ipapalit natin? Ito po yung tinatawag na creation or establishment of autonomous territories. Bakit kamo? Dahil dito, kung mayroon tayong autonomous territories or federal state, magkaroon ng empowerment. Bakit magkaroon ng empowerment? Kasi po magkaroon ng mas mataas na antas ng otonomiya ang mga local government units. More autonomy for local government units. Empowered to chart destiny. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Sila yung nakakaalam, sila yung mag-determine, sila yung mag-design kung ano yung future nila sa mga territories, sa mga areas na ito. They know what is good for them, they know what is good for their people, they know what is good for their business, they know what is good for everybody in that locality. So, autonomous territories, regions dictate tax share of central or federal government. Sa presidential unitary system, 20% lang po ang bumabalik na share ng mga local government, bagamat 100% ang tax remitted to national government. In this case, it's the reverse. Ang mag-determine kung ilan ang share ng national government or federal government ay ang autonomous territories or ang autonomous region or federal state. Kung gusto ng federal state, for example, is 70-20 ratio, 70 for the local government or federal state, 20% for the central government or federal government, pwede po nilang gawin yun. So, napaka-powerful sila. In other words, yan ang tinatawag na empowerment. May empowerment sila. So, napakaganda, di ba? So, kung ganyan ang sistema, empowered din po yung mga citizenry ng areas na yan. Dahil alam nila, maging resourceful sila, alam nila kung anong dapat gawin nila sa kanilang kinabukasan. Paano po i-create ang autonomous territory? Ganito po yan. Unang-una, hindi po automatic na pagusto yung central government na i-impose niya doon sa mga provinces na mag-create ng autonomous territories. It should be the reverse. It should be the compact adjacent provinces, cities and municipalities and metropolitan areas that will put their hands together and pass a resolution or petition, and attached to that petition or resolution is an organic act. Ano po itong organic act? Itong organic act ay mag-determine kung paano po i-govern yung autonomous territory at ano ang mga legislative powers ng autonomous territories. Ito po, unang-una, they have the power to legislate laws on administrative organization, planning, budget, and management. So, napaka-powerful po. Maliban dyan, pwede rin sila mag-create ng mga batas on the creation of sources of revenues and finance. Dito, napakahalaga po. Kung titingnan po ninyo, doon sa Mindanao na lang, lahat ng mga establishments or big corporations like Dole and Del Monte, ang mga central office or mga head office ng mga yan ay in Makati, in Manila. So, hindi yan sila nagbabayad or they don't pay taxes in Mindanao. They pay taxes in Makati or in Manila. So, but with this, local territories or autonomous territories can legislate laws kung saan itong mga corporation, big corporation na ito ay magbabayad ng taxes doon sa Mindanao kung saan sila ay nag-ooperate ng kanilang mga business. Agriculture and fisheries. Iba-iba tayong areas, iba-ibang agricultural opportunities ang mayroon. Also fisheries. So, tama lang tayo magde-decide, tayo mag-legislate ng batas kung anong magandang agricultural improvement doon sa ating mga autonomous territories or federal states. Natural resources, energy, environment, indigenous appropriate technologies, and invention. Dito po, tulad ng naibanggit ko kanina, natural resources, kung mayroon mag-mining doon sa Davao, for example, kailangan ang permit niyan, exploration permit sa DNR pa, Central Office, ipa-approve. Bagamat kung mayroon na tayong power to legislate laws on the local autonomous government or territories, pwede na doon kukunin ang approval ng mga permit na yan. Kahit saan sa bansa, basta autonomous territories or federal state, pwede pong mangyari yan. Trade, industry, and tourism. So, yan. May mga uniqueness ang ating mga tourism industry, mga kultura, mga etc. May pagkakaiba yan. So, dapat lang ang bawat locality mag-devise ng kanilang batas para appropriate yung kanilang mga tourism industry improvement in their areas. Labor, employment. The same is true with labor and employment. Public works, transportation, except railways, shipping, and aviation. Yan. Tandaan po natin, public works, dapat doon din yan sa autonomous territories, except railways dahil poder po ng federal government yan, including shipping and aviation. Health and social welfare. Kailangan tayo rin mag-determine yan sa local autonomous or autonomous territories and federal state. Education and the development of language, culture, and the arts as part of the cultural heritage, science, and technology. So, this must be localized. May power po ang autonomous territories na gumawa ng batas sa mga areas na yan. Dahil po may kanya-kanyang uniqueness, language, and relevant education to these areas. Kaya dapat lang tayo or ang mga local autonomous government or federal state ang magkaroon ng poder sa paggawa ng batas sa mga areas na yan. Okay, ancestral domain and natural resources. Ito, napaka-importante ito sa mga indigenous peoples. Kung magkaroon ng autonomous territory or federal state, hindi na sila pupunta ng Manila, NCIP Central Office para sa approval ng kanilang Certificate of Ancestral Domain title. Kung hindi, doon na lang sa territory na yan at yung territory na yan ang mag-issue ng Certificate of Ancestral Domain title. Housing, land use, and development. The same is true. Kailangan sa local level din ang may poder ng ganyan. Urban and rural planning, lalo na to. And development. Kasi urban areas ang mga federal states. Such other matters as may be authorized by law. Siguro pwede ko rin banggitin dito yung creation ng state Supreme Court. Like in the US, for example, lahat ng mga states sa US, mayroon silang kanilang mga Supreme Court in the different states, but mayroon ding federal Supreme Court. So, kailangan pwede rin siguro i-adapt dito sa Pilipinas yan. It depends, ano? So, yan po yung power ng legislative powers of the autonomous territories or federal state. Pero ano naman ang powers na may iiwan o powers and responsibilities of the central government or federal government? Ito po yun. National defense and security. Hindi po pwedeng i-delegate or decentralize ang power na yan. Yan po ay it should stay in the national government or federal government when we talk of national defense and security. Foreign affairs. Kailangan po ang federal government will keep that power dahil po ito ay isang patungkol sa relationship with other countries. So, tayo isang bansa, hindi na, bagamat federal tayo, pero tayo isang bansa, bansang Pilipinas. Pwedeng tawaging Federal Republic of the Philippines. Currency, money and coinage. Katulad sa United States, dollar. Isa lang ang kanilang currency, which is dollar. You can find dollar in all the states in America. Also in Malaysia, for example, in other federal states for that matter, iisa lang ang kanilang currency, money, and coinage. We also adopt that as responsibility of the federal government in the Philippines. Trade and commerce with other countries and among states. So ito, importante rin dahil we cannot deny the fact that we have to trade with other countries. We have to enter into agreement, trade, bilateral or bilateral agreement with other countries when it comes to trade and commerce. Customs and national revenues. Ito, kailangan iisa lang yung ating customs so that ang pagbayad ng mga custom duties ay federal government or central government ang in charge dyan. National revenues, it has to be determined later. Ano bang national revenues? Ano ba ang local revenues at ma-retain sa federal state at ano yung ma-retain sa federal government? Citizenship and immigration. Ito, kailangan all of us are Filipinos even if we are divided into federal states pero kailangan iisa lang citizenship natin. Iisa lang ang immigration natin. National territory. Oo, importante ito. Bagamat federal siguro tayo or may mga autonomous territories, kailangan iisa lang yung territory natin, isa lang yung national territory and that is the Philippine territory, national territory. Air transport and shipping. Ito, importante rin. Dapat ito sa federal government. Postal service and telecommunication. Ito rin. Importante rin yung mga postal services, mga pagpadala ng sulat, kung ano mang communication, importanteng responsibility ng central government yan. Political and civil rights, human rights, and intellectual property rights. Dito, dapat poder din ito ng isang federal government. National Supreme Court. Ito, kung mayroong kaso sa federal state at hindi na-resolve, pwede iakyat sa National Supreme Court. At ito ay poder, responsibility ng central government or federal government. Okay. Mayroon tayong tinatawag na intergovernmental relations. Kahit saang federal government in the world, kung in case of conflict between national and local laws, the national law shall prevail. So, dapat matandaan na ito, matatandaan natin ito'y tinatawag na intergovernmental relations. Usually, the national law shall always prevail if there is conflict with local laws. So, if there is a resolution from the resolution or petition with attached organic act by compact and adjacent provinces, cities, municipalities, and metropolitan areas, what comes next? Ito po ay isusubmit sa parliament or whatever you may call it. Kung if we'll shift from presidential to parliamentary, then isusubmit natin sa parliament ang resolution. Attached to it is the organic act, and we are recommending that parliament should act within 1 year. When they receive the organic act or the petition, then they should act within 1 year. If not, petition is automatically approved. Bakit ganito yung ating suggestion? Dahil para hindi i-delay ng parliament yung approval ng mga autonomous territories ng mga different areas na nag-apply for the creation of the autonomous territories or federal state in their areas. So, when it is already pass or approved by Parliament, then it will be thrown to the people through a plebiscite. Ito po ang pinaka-importante kasi yung plebiscite po ang mag-determine kung tanggapin o hindi tanggapin ng mga tao ang isang autonomous territory or federal states. So, kung tinanggap ng mga tao, ano po ang magiging itsura? O, kung created ng mga iba't ibang autonomous territories in the country, maaring ang Region 1, Region 2 will form an autonomous territory, or Metro Manila, for example, will form or establish itself as autonomous territory. The same is true with the other regions, for example, or Mindanao, the entire island of Mindanao will constitute itself as one autonomous territory or federal state. It depends on the decision of the people of Mindanao. So that will be determined by those provinces or regions coming together to form themselves into an autonomous government. Okay, so when some autonomous territories are already established, it is expected that within 1 year and after 60% of the provinces and cities have joined the autonomous territories, then Parliament, assisted by the Preparatory Commission, shall enact basic law for the establishment of a Federal Republic of the Philippines. Ito na po yung proseso. Ganyan po ang mangyayari. After 1 year, at 60% na ang mga provinces at cities na nag-join sa autonomous territories, then po pwede na pong mag-create ang Parliament ng Preparatory Commission, at ito po yung katuwang nila para mag-enact ng basic law para ma-establish o ma-convert ang Pilipinas or Philippines into a Federal Republic of the Philippines. So hindi po ito automatic. Unang gawin natin, mag-establish tayo ng mga autonomous territories. Paano gawin yon? Adjoining provinces, cities, metropolis or metropolitan areas will petition and pass a resolution, and attached to that resolution and petition is the Organic Act, will be submitted to Congress or Parliament, and Parliament within 1 year has to act on it. Otherwise, the resolution and Organic Act will become automatically approved. So, when the autonomous territories are already, when the Organic Act is already passed by Congress, then it will be thrown to the people, to that specific area where the autonomous territory is going to be created for the approval of the people. If they join, they will vote yes. If they don't, they will vote no. And therefore, if they vote yes, then magkaroon ng autonomous territory. Kung mayroon ng autonomous territory at 60% na sa buong Pilipinas ang nagkaroon ng autonomous territory, pupwede na po tayong mag-pass ng batas o ang Parliament mag-pass ng batas sa pamamagitan ng Preparatory Commission, nang sa ganon mai-convert ang buong Pilipinas into a Federal Republic of the Philippines. Yan po ang ating paraan kung papaano at kung ano ang dahilan kung saan dapat ma-establish ang Federal Republic of the Philippines. Marami pong salamat.